Awakening the Ancient Gift. Dr. Marcus Chen wiped sweat from his brow as he carefully brushed dirt from what appeared to be a control panel. The alien sun beat down mercilessly on the excavation site, but his excitement outweighed any physical discomfort. After 3 years of digging on this remote colony world, his team had finally uncovered something extraordinary. "Miranda, look at this," he called to his research partner. "These aren't precursor symbols. They're Earth standard." Miranda Okafor joined him, her expression shifting from skepticism to astonishment. "That's impossible. Human expansion only reached this sector 80 years ago." Yet the evidence was undeniable. The underground facility they'd discovered predated human space travel by at least 2 centuries. The implications were staggering. Either humans had reached the stars far earlier than recorded history suggested, or someone had brought human technology here long before Earth's official first contact. "The dating can't be wrong," Marcus insisted, running his hand along the smooth metal surface that showed remarkably little degradation. "This facility is at least 300 years old." Their discovery had already attracted unwanted attention. The colonial government had assigned observers to their dig. Tall, silver-skinned beings called Valyrians who claimed to be scientific liaisons, but clearly had their own agenda. Marcus had caught them scanning and transmitting data back to their ship in orbit. "We should inform Director Collins before our friends report back to their superiors," Miranda suggested, nodding toward the ridge where a Valyrian stood watching. "Too late," Marcus muttered as the alien began making its way down the slope toward them with unsettling grace. The Valyrian, who called himself Sentinel Zev, arrived at the excavation site with that perpetual expression of mild disinterest that Marcus had come to recognize as their version of intense focus. "You've made a significant discovery, Dr. Chen," Zev stated, his voice melodic but emotionless. "The Oversight Committee requests that you cease further exploration until proper protocols can be established." Marcus exchanged glances with Miranda. The Oversight Committee was a convenient fiction. In reality, the Valyrians had been monitoring human expansion with increasing concern over the past decades. "This is a human relic on a human colony," Marcus replied firmly. "With all due respect, Sentinel, your committee has no jurisdiction here." The Valyrian's silver eyes narrowed slightly. "You don't understand what you're dealing with. Some technologies are restricted for the greater harmony of all sentient species." While they argued, Marcus's assistant Eli had continued clearing the control panel. A sudden hum filled the air as lights began flickering to life throughout the facility. "What did you do?" Miranda gasped as the ground beneath them trembled. "Nothing," Eli protested. "I just cleared away the last of the dirt and it activated." Sentinel Zev moved with startling speed, pushing past the researchers toward the console, but it was too late. A holographic projection appeared above the activated controls. A human figure dressed in an unfamiliar uniform. Genetic verification confirmed. Human presence detected. Initiating Revival Protocol Alpha. The hologram addressed them directly. "If you are receiving this message, humanity has finally returned to the stars. I am Admiral Helena Chen, Earth Defense Force. The technology contained in this facility was hidden across 50 worlds before the Great Suppression. What you have found is humanity's true inheritance." Marcus felt a chill despite the planet's heat. Chen, his own family name. Was this coincidence, or had his research been guided by more than academic curiosity? The hologram continued. "The progenitors feared us, not for what we were, but for what we could become. Humanity possesses a neural adaptability unmatched in the galaxy. They called it the potential, and they buried it within our genetic code, suppressing our true capabilities when they realized what we might achieve." Sentinel Zev lunged for the control panel, but an energy field snapped into place, repelling him. The Valyrian's composed facade cracked, revealing genuine alarm. "Shut it down now," he commanded, his melodic voice sharp with urgency. "You don't understand the consequences." The holographic admiral smiled sadly. The suppression was never meant to be permanent. It was meant to protect us until we were ready. This facility contains the key to unlocking what was taken from us. The choice to use it is yours. A small compartment opened in the console, revealing a crystal device pulsing with blue light. This is the neural catalyst, the hologram explained. Once activated, it will begin undoing the genetic suppression that has limited humanity for centuries. The process cannot be reversed. Marcus looked at the device, then at Zev, whose silver skin had paled to an ashen gray. Your people were there, Marcus realized, when humanity was suppressed. For your own protection, Zev replied, his voice barely audible. You don't understand what unbridled human potential would mean for the galaxy. For yourselves. Miranda stepped forward. And who gave you the right to decide that for us? The hologram of Admiral Chen flickered. The choice is yours. Choose wisely. In that moment, Marcus understood why he'd been drawn to this remote world, to this particular excavation site. Something beyond conscious thought had guided him here, perhaps the first stirrings of the very potential the Admiral spoke of. He reached for the crystal. Marcus, wait. Miranda began, but he had already lifted the device. The crystal pulsed once, then dissolved into particles of light that spread through the air around them. Marcus felt a strange tingling sensation as the particles touched his skin, then penetrated it, seeming to flow directly into his bloodstream. What have you done? Zev whispered, genuine fear in his voice for the first time. In the weeks that followed, the first changes became apparent. It began with dreams, vivid, shared experiences reported across the colony. Then came the incidents, a miner lifting impossible weights during a cave-in, a doctor somehow sensing tumors before any scan could detect them, children solving complex equations as if they were simple addition. The colonial government, under pressure from Valyrian advisors, established quarantine protocols. Those showing signs of enhancement were detained for observation. Marcus and his team had gone into hiding, smuggling the data from the facility to trusted contacts throughout human space. 6 months after the discovery, Marcus sat in a hidden bunker with 24 others who had manifested abilities. Miranda had developed an eidetic memory and accelerated cognitive processing. Eli could manipulate small electrical fields. Marcus himself had begun experiencing moments of precognition, glimpses of potential futures that helped them stay one step ahead of the authorities. The catalyst's effect is spreading, Miranda reported, reviewing data on her tablet. Neural enhancement has been documented on 7 colony worlds. Earth itself is reporting thousands of cases. And the Valyrians? Marcus asked. They'd brought in 3 more ships, Eli replied. They're calling it a containment operation for our safety. Marcus nodded, making his decision. Then it's time. Upload everything. The complete data package from the facility, all our research and personal testimonials from everyone here. Send it to every human settlement and station. Let everyone know what was hidden from us. The Valyrians will retaliate, Miranda warned. Marcus looked around at the faces of the enhanced humans who had joined their resistance. Perhaps, but humanity has lived in the shadow of suppression long enough. Whatever comes next, we face it with our full potential awakened. As the data streamed outward, spreading the truth across human space, Marcus felt something new stirring within the collective consciousness of humanity, a power long dormant, finally beginning to wake. Humanity unleashed. The skies over New Terra blazed with weapons fire as 3 Valyrian cruisers pursued a small human transport through the atmosphere. Inside the transport, Eliza Chen gripped the manual controls, her mind linked directly to the ship's navigation systems in a way that would have been impossible a year earlier. They're still gaining, called her co-pilot, Jake Moreno, his enhanced reflexes allowing him to manage the defensive systems. Not for long, Eliza replied, guiding the ship into a canyon too narrow for the larger cruisers to follow. Send the signal. Let them know we have another group coming in. It had been 18 months since her uncle Marcus had discovered the neural catalyst, releasing humanity's suppressed potential. 18 months of awakening, adaptation, and increasingly desperate attempts by the Galactic Council to contain what they now openly called the human threat. The underground network that Marcus had begun had grown into a galaxy-wide movement. Enhanced humans used their newly awakened abilities to stay one step ahead of the authorities, smuggling others to safe havens where they could develop their gifts without interference. As Eliza brought their ship to the hidden landing pad inside an abandoned mining facility, she felt the familiar presence of other enhanced minds welcoming them. The 20 refugees they'd rescued from a detention facility on Europa would find sanctuary here, at least temporarily. Marcus was waiting as they disembarked, his hair now streaked with gray despite only being in his early 40s. The constant strain of leading the resistance had taken its toll, but his eyes remained bright with purpose. "You cut it close this time," he said, embracing his niece. "The Council has deployed a new type of tracking system," Eliza replied. "They can detect the neural signatures of enhanced humans now." Marcus nodded grimly. "Then we're running out of time. Come with me. There's something you need to see." He led her deeper into the facility, past areas where enhanced humans trained to control their abilities. Some practiced telekinesis, moving objects with increasingly precise control. Others worked on telepathic communication networks that couldn't be intercepted by conventional means. In one chamber, a group focused on accelerated healing techniques. They finally reached a secure room where Miranda Okafor waited beside a holographic display of the galaxy. "The Council has called an emergency session," Miranda informed them without preamble. "They're voting on the human containment resolution tomorrow." "Containment?" Eliza questioned. "Mass deportation of enhanced humans to isolated worlds," Marcus explained. "Mandatory genetic screening of all human children. Chemical suppression for anyone showing signs of the potential." "They can't possibly enforce that across all human worlds," Jake protested. "They can with this," Miranda said, bringing up schematics for a massive orbital platform. "The suppression array. It's designed to broadcast a signal that specifically targets the enhanced neural pathways in human brains." Marcus studied the schematics. "How close are they to deploying it?" "The first prototype is already in orbit around Mars. If it works, they'll install them throughout human space." The group fell silent, contemplating the implications. Everything they'd fought for could be undone with the flip of a switch. "Then we take the fight to them," Eliza said finally. "Not just running and hiding. We make our stand at the Council itself." Marcus shook his head. "The Council Citadel is the most heavily defended location in the galaxy. Even with our abilities are exactly why we can succeed," Eliza insisted. "Uncle, you've been teaching us to hide our potential. Maybe it's time we showed them exactly what humanity is capable of." 3 days later, as the Galactic Council prepared to vote on humanity's future, an unprecedented event occurred. Simultaneously, on 27 worlds across the galaxy, enhanced humans revealed themselves publicly. They demonstrated abilities that defied conventional understanding. From telekinetic construction projects that built shelters for the homeless in minutes to telepathic networks that instantly translated between species to healing centers where previously incurable conditions were treated. And in orbit above the Council Citadel, a small fleet of human ships appeared, led by Marcus Chen and a coalition of enhanced pilots. "Attention, Galactic Council," Marcus transmitted on all frequencies. "For too long, you have feared human potential. Today, we demonstrate that your fear is misplaced. We come not as conquerors, but as equals who refuse to be diminished." The Council's defense grid activated, surrounding the human ships with a net of energy designed to disable any vessel that approached without authorization. But the enhanced pilots had anticipated this. Working in concert, they created a cascading psychic field that interfered with the targeting systems, allowing their ships to descend toward the Citadel's main landing platform. High Counselor Zev, formerly Sentinel Zev, watched with a mixture of dread and awe as the human delegation landed. They progressed even faster than our worst projections, he murmured to his aides. Prepare containment protocols. But when Marcus and his team emerged from their ships, they carried no weapons. Instead, they approached with open hands. We request an audience with the full council, Marcus announced to the assembled security forces, not as supplicants, but as representatives of humanity's true potential. Inside the Grand Council chamber, representatives of 200 species watched nervously as the human delegation took the central platform. Many had voted for increasingly harsh measures against humans, fearing the evolutionary advantage their neural adaptability represented. Distinguished council members, Marcus began, for centuries, you have suppressed humanity's natural development. You feared what we might become, so you buried our potential beneath genetic locks and kept us ignorant of our true capabilities. High Counselor Zev rose from his seat. We did what was necessary for galactic stability. Unchecked human potential threatens the balance of power among all species. Balance. Miranda stepped forward. Or stagnation. We've reviewed the historical records recovered from the ancient facility. For 10,000 years, technological and evolutionary progress has been carefully controlled by the founding species of this council, because we learned the hard way what unchecked advancement leads to. Another counselor shouted. The Void Wars nearly destroyed all sentient life in the galaxy. And yet, Eliza added, when the ancient humans demonstrated a capacity for neural adaptation that might have helped prevent such catastrophes in the future, your response was to bury that gift. Marcus gestured, and a holographic display appeared in the center of the chamber, showing the remarkable achievements of enhanced humans across the galaxy. From environmental restoration projects to medical breakthroughs to engineering feats accomplished in days rather than years. This is what we offer, he said quietly. Not domination, but cooperation. Not conquest, but contribution. As the council deliberated, tensions remained high. Some species threatened to withdraw from the council entirely if humanity wasn't contained. Others, impressed by the demonstrations of human potential, argued for integration. The debate might have continued indefinitely if not for what happened next. A massive Valyrian warship appeared in orbit, powering up its main weapon, a direct violation of council law. High Counselor Zev had secretly ordered a preemptive strike against the human delegation. But the enhanced humans sensed the attack before it came. Working together, they created a defensive psychic shield around the citadel. When the warship fired, the energy was not only deflected but redirected, disabling the vessel without destroying it. In that moment, the council witnessed both the power of enhanced humanity and their restraint. You could have destroyed that ship, Zev said, his composure finally broken. Why didn't you? Because that's not who we choose to be, Marcus replied simply. The potential you feared isn't just for destruction. It's for creation, protection, and growth. We don't seek to dominate the galaxy. We seek to help it evolve. In the days that followed, a new compact was formed. The suppression arrays were dismantled, and humanity was granted full autonomy to develop their abilities under certain agreed-upon ethical frameworks. In exchange, enhanced humans would share their gifts with the galaxy, serving as mediators, healers, and problem-solvers. As Marcus stood on the observation deck of the returning ship, watching the stars streak by, Eliza joined him. Do you think they'll keep their word? She asked. Or are they just buying time until they find another way to control us? Marcus smiled. Some will try. Fear doesn't disappear overnight. But today, humanity has taken its rightful place among the stars, not as conquerors or subjects, but as catalysts for change. And what happens next? Eliza wondered, looking out at the galaxy that suddenly seemed full of new possibilities. That, Marcus replied, is the most exciting part. For the first time in our history, humanity's potential is truly unlimited. What comes next is entirely up to us. As their ship raced toward Earth, carrying news of the new compact, millions of humans across the galaxy continued to awaken to abilities long suppressed. The revival of humanity's lost power had begun, and the universe would never be the same.